Let's start with the product on top of the list, and I found this quite fascinating. The smart speaker, really, the survey is saying that it will take off this year. Has it taken off with speed in South Africa, though?
It's going to take a bit of time, especially in multilingual countries, for it to take off, because English is the predominant language currently supported by smart speakers. So what we're now seeing is other languages, Japanese, Chinese, suddenly being supported, and the technology is becoming quite accessible. So I predict that South Africa will be no different. Within the next few years, it will be a common feature in most middle to upmarket houses.
Now, for those of us, like including myself, that just learned about this quite recently, I feel old. I mean, what it basically does is that it revolves around commands of language, and it works using an internet connection, sourcing whatever you want.
Absolutely. It's often a small-sized device sitting in the kitchen or in your living room. It recognizes your voice and responds to it through internet connectivity. So it could be your kids asking for music, it could be you asking for weather, and often it ends up evolving into more complex things like ordering your groceries and doing things on your behalf.
So that means we can see a lot of that this year. Another interesting thing, cloud-based artificial intelligence software. Excuse me for asking, but I mean, how rife is this used in businesses? I would imagine internationally this is something that's quite big, especially with the massive technological firms. Where is it being used?
No, I think this is going to be quite ubiquitous in most large organizations, because companies that use global enterprise softwares like SAP, Oracle will all have this built in the next few years to come. So it's going to become a common feature in all large enterprises in South Africa.
Now, I see 5G networks. I mean, we've heard 5G for years now. When 4G was introduced, we've already been told about that. And you say it will be bursting on the scene this year. I'm just trying to reconcile that with the fact that we have our spectrum problems here in South Africa. So while we dream about it, is it not still far away off from us, given our spectrum issues?
No, I do think even globally, it's going to be a minuscule dent into the 4G and 3G networks.
Yep.
But what we're going to see is the actual go-lives of a few networks actually having this capability. As a country, we have some spectrum issues to resolve, and it's probably going to take a good couple of years before it makes any big impact in our local market.
What's the big jaw-dropper here in terms of 5G technology? I mean, just to the layperson, what will change dramatically when this takes off?
I think it's quite important for a country like us. It's geographically quite widespread, relatively small population. It provides extremely high bandwidth for internet connectivity. So you can reach almost, or in some cases, better than fiber connectivity speeds, actually over wireless. So it allows faster deployment of fast internet to houses. But in addition to that, there's multiple new business models that's going to emerge from the use of 5G. Every single device could be connected to each other, big impact on the Internet of Things. So both a combination of speed and efficiency, as well as new business models and what could be done in the connected internet world.
Your massive implications for economic development, I would imagine, as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, the other aspect of this report that really caught my eye, and I want to read this out. In the US, sport betting will drive about 40% of all TV watching by men between the ages of 25 and 34. I mean, I would have understood it if it's just TV watching, but it's TV watching for betting. 40% of men between those ages in the US will be watching TV for that reason. That's a fascinating claim there.
No, it's a fascinating combination of sport and betting, and the companies that are linking the two to each other are finding a significant return on their investment. So people between the age of 18 to 35 who watch sports, 60% of them will partake in some form of betting related to it.
Yeah. Again, I want to bring up the South African question. How rife is this in the country?
There's a lot of online, I mean, our regulations have been quite strict in this space, but recently there are many players emerging with sport betting capabilities, and it's only a matter of time before it is quite tightly linked to our viewership of live sports.
Yeah, well, let's see if the economy supports spending. Arun Babu, thanks from Deloitte. Thanks very much indeed for coming in.
It's a pleasure.